1,000 years ago, this land was green until the crystal cracked. Then strife began and two new races appeared, the cruel Skeksis, the gentle Mystics. Here in the Castle of the Crystal, the Skeksis took control. Now the Skeksis gather in the sacred chamber. It's time to make my move. Yeah, 3 people will get that. Howdy folks, my name is Richie, aka Otter, back with another Guild Wars 2 review preview, where I take a look back at the patch that's currently in place and give it a review, and take a look at a preview of next week's patch. First up, we're going to be talking about the Nightmares Within patch, which landed last week. Players were able to invade Kessex Hills and actually go into that monstrous tower that the Crate and the Toxic Alliance have built in order to kind of herald in the profit that they've seen coming for a long time. But players actually get to run in this, and it's a big open world kind of dungeon where you run through 3 massive levels of traps and poison and enemies and events, and even some, a little bit of scaling, balancing on different platforms and stuff like that. And you work your way up, and there's these little instances you can go inside, and each instance takes about 15 minutes or so, and it's got some mini bosses and different things in it. And there's a bunch of achievements to get and some cool rewards if you actually unlock the meta. At the top of the tower is a try chest where you can assemble a try key by getting the keys in different places. You can get them on a vendor, you can also get them as drops, and there's actually some pretty cool rewards you can get out of that chest if you're lucky. I actually was very lucky. On my second opening of the chest, I actually got the Crate Hybrid Mini Pet. I know some other people that are still trying to get it, so it is an RNG thing that you just have to keep going for. But also at the top, there is a final instance where you actually get to see Scarlet. She actually rehashes in a cool cutscene all of her exploits from before, all of the alliances she's made with the Flame Legion and the Dredge, as part of the Molten Alliance, the Sky Pirates. Also the Watch Knights, the clockwork creatures that she created, and now finally the Toxic Alliance. But you don't get to grab her. She just has this cutscene and she walks off, ha ha ha, all going according to plan, and she disappears through a portal. And she walks really slowly through the portal, and I keep wanting to, I'm like, my big Norn would not let her walk through that portal. I would grab her by her little cabbage head and I would squish it in my fist. That's what I would do, but they don't let you do that in the game, unfortunately. But you do get a cool boss fight versus a Toxic Hybrid. Now, let me give you some of my thoughts about this patch. I like the fact that it was kind of this open world experience for the most part, with some little, instanced areas as well. It was actually really fun. I did it again last night with my guild. You get a bunch of people on voice chat and you run through this thing as a group, and it's a lot of fun. You actually take some teamwork. It's actually difficult to scale up this tower and stuff like that. But if you're alone or in a small group of people, it's actually kind of a nightmare. See what I did there? Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare to actually go up this thing because there's just constant creatures. When you get to the 3rd level, there's constant poison ticking on you, and the new skill, the new heal skill that they gave you to remove toxin, that doesn't do crap because you remove all of the conditions and they come right back. The only thing that works are these HEPA filters that they got from a Brookstone catalog that are scattered in certain areas. You have to go and huddle near these little HEPA filter things. I don't know, that's what I call them. But it can be very frustrating scaling this tower if you're by yourself and you're not actually with a group. So it's a little bit of a frustration thing, but I do like that they gave some content in there that actually guilds can actually do together. Now, the problem was we had 8 or 9 people running with us, and when you get to the top and you want to do the instance, well, you can't all go in together. I'd like some more I want some large scale instances in Guild Wars 2, but I don't know if we're going to get any of those. But still, it's interesting content nonetheless. The little mini excursions, the little instances, they're nothing to really write home about. They're fun the first couple times that you do them. I like that there's different random NPCs that go in there with you, and they have hallucinations and nightmares that they kind of experience. So there's some clever dialogue and some cool backstory that you get with some of them. And the final instance that you can do where you fight the Toxic Hybrid boss, I like the look of the Hybrid boss, but there are no real interesting mechanics. It's just large AoEs on the floor, and he's got a ton of health, especially if you go in there with 4 or 5 players. It takes forever to kill this creature. So I would love for them in the future to kind of work on some more interesting boss mechanics and shorten the time to kill, because it's a little bit long. Next up, I want to briefly talk about World vs. World Season 1, which is quickly winding down. Players have been for weeks battling out against other servers, vying for position to see who's going to come out on top. Now, I have several friends and guildmates who actually have been working really hard on their achievements. It actually takes quite a long time because it's kind of like a 7-week-long meta series. And, you can't just go in there for a few hours and bang it out. It takes, some serious commitment to do it, which is why I'm actually not going for it. I actually spent a couple of nights in World vs. World when it first launched, and I realized that it's going to take me lots of hours to kind of get this achievement done. I know some people do these farm trains on Fridays and stuff, but long story short, I don't find World vs. World overly fun. It's not the content that's tailored to me, so I'm not actually going for the meta event. Now, I mentioned this on Guildcast last week because I'm kind of predicting there's going to be a little bit of an angry mob when they actually end the season. And the reason for this is because they haven't clearly spelled out what the rewards are, right? This is the longest achievement meta that we've seen in game so far. It takes a lot of time to do it, but we don't have a clear answer on what exactly we're getting for our time. Now, we know that there's going to be a Doliac finisher that players will unlock if they complete the meta and their world actually places in first, second, or third. There's a golden trophy Doliac that kind of lands on your opponent as a finishing move for the first place, and silver, and there's a bronze. We also know there's a Doliac mini pet, that people can run around with. And I'm going to assume there's things like titles, and there's going to be like badges and crafting materials and all kinds of, the standard types of rewards that are going to be unlocked with this World vs. World chest. But they mentioned on the website that, you have this key and you're going to unlock this chest and there's going to be some rewards. Now, we don't know if they've already spelled out everything, like everything I just mentioned. Is that it? Or is there more? Is there going to be a chance for exotics? Is there going to be a chance for precursors? Is there going to be some really cool special thing that's kind of like a surprise or a secret? And this is where I think there could be some potential problems. There's a lot of people that, have been working on this achievement, because they legitimately enjoy World vs. World and that's their content. Okay, and any kind of reward on top of that is a bonus. And they're going for server pride, right? Or world pride. They want to have their world show up on top. And that's totally great. Then this works perfectly. There are some people that enjoy World vs. World a little bit, or maybe even, significantly, but they actually are putting in extra effort and more time because they want to see what kind of rewards they get as part of this meta. And those people who have worked really hard, if there is nothing more than I just kind of mentioned there, then they might feel a little bit kind of like cheated. Like, I spent all this time doing this. I thought there was going to be some big special reward. A year ago, you gave out precursors and exotics for this one-time, 3-hour Karka event. What's the deal? And then there's also going to be players like me who have decided, you know what, it's too much work. And, or I don't really enjoy World vs. World, so I'm not going to go for it, and just fine. But if the rewards are like extravagant, let's say you open this chest and it really is a lot of people, you get a precursor and you get a precursor. It's like Oprah Winfrey precursor day. Then there's going to be people like me that go, if I knew that in advance, if they had announced what the rewards were going to be, I would have actually went for content even if I didn't enjoy it. Now, I know not everything's about rewards and it's about the experience, but I'm just kind of predicting a little bit that there could be a mess with the rewards in World vs. World. I can see the forum threads and the Reddit posts now about it. I think they just need to, for Season 2, really spell out what are we fighting for? What are we playing for? So players can make a decision in advance of what they're kind of, getting into. Next up, let's talk about the patch that's upcoming in Guild Wars 2. Coming on November 26th is the Fractured patch. In a world fractured by fractals, one hero will join 4 other heroes to go in and do dungeons. Yes, that's right. We've got more fractals. Now, they actually have this really cool trailer video that I'll throw up on the screen now. This is apparently a bit of cinematics that they threw together a year ago that was supposed to accompany the actual release of the Fractals of the Mist dungeon, but they actually didn't get it ready in time, or there was some tech that wasn't working properly, so they saved all the work for the, when they were going to do a big update to the Fractals, and that's today. So we get to see this cinematic, which is really kind of cool, but let's check out what's coming up in the patch. Back in August, Guild Wars 2 players voted Ellen Keel onto the Captain's Council of Lion's Arch, and part of her campaign was that she was going to promise to update the Fractals of the Mist with the Thoma Nova Reactor instance. So we are getting this new Fractal in this patch, and you're actually going to be able to go in a story instance of the new Fractal when you enter the instance area, which I think is a really good idea, because I was thinking in my head, all right, they're going to have this really cool new Fractal, yet you're going to go into the Fractals and you'll get a random one, and you might not even get the new one. So at least you're going to be able to go in with a group, see the new Fractal as part of a story mode, and then it's going to go into the Fractal rotation. But that's not all. You're getting 2 other Fractals. They are doing revamped versions of the Aether Blade Retreat and the Molten Weapon facilities, and those are going to be Fractals as well. In addition to the 3 new Fractals, there are 2 new boss Fractals going live with this patch. Previously, you would actually only get a boss fight at every even level difficulty, but now every level of difficulty in the Fractals will have a 4th Fractal at the end that's a boss Fractal, and instead of only getting the Jade Maw as the boss, you will now be able to face off against Aetherblade Captain Mai Trin or the 2 Molten Alliance champions from the Molten Weapon facility. So there's a little bit of variety there. My one concern about this is Fractals can sometimes already be a little bit long, especially if you get a bad mixture of Fractals. So adding a 4th one every time you go through it makes it a little bit of more of a time commitment, but at the same time, it felt a little bit clunky that you only got the boss Fractals every other difficulty level. That was kind of, hard to wrap your brain around, especially if you're coming into Fractals new. Now, they did say that they're also going to be smoothing out the length of time that it takes you to get through the Fractals. They're going to have the easier Fractals towards the beginning of the rotation and the longer ones toward the end. So if you're getting a sampling of 3, maybe you get a short one, a medium length one, and a long one every single time. That could actually work to maybe even out how long a set of Fractals takes. It would be great if they actually could trim each one of them so that they were roughly the same length, but I understand that that's probably a little bit too difficult to do at this point. They're also going to be updating the agony resistance, the way that they work. You're going to be able to collect drops that give you agony resistance and combine them using Artificer's skill to actually unlock different levels of agony resistance. The Fractals of the Mist leaderboards are going to actually be showing off. So people that actually race to the top are going to actually show off their prowess. Look what level I've got to on the in the Fractals. But the bad news is, for anybody who has unlocked difficulty 31 or above, you're getting reset to level 30 so that the competition can officially begin. So if you hadn't leveled up to that, so that's good on you. You're still you still have some time to level that up in the next few days so that you could start fresh with the leaderboard. But if you had unlocked past that, you're going to reset, but there's lots of changes that are going in there that hopefully you won't be too worried about that. The difficulty curve in Fractals 1 through 30 has been adjusted, and Fractals beyond level 30 now have special challenges. Each Fractal above 30 has a new Mistlock instability, which actually is kind of, I'm guessing it's going to be like an environmental effect or something that goes on that it's going to harm you. Like maybe you're burning through the entire Fractal experience, or maybe all your spells go off slower. Just something bad is going to happen to you each level, and it kind of make it so that as you climb this ladder, unlocking new difficulty levels, you actually, people can start talking about, oh, did you do level 42 yet? That's the one where they have swinging monkeys throwing balloons at you. Balloons? Would they really throw balloons at you? Maybe they're throwing bananas at you and their peels make you slip. I don't know what I was thinking there, but monkeys just flew into my brain, and that's the kind of thing that comes out of my mouth when monkeys fly into my brain. I just need to stop because this is just getting out of control. Looking briefly at the reward updates for the Fractals, I mean, there's a whole bunch here. You can kind of check out the website. I'll put links in the description below, but you're now going to be able to get a whole bunch of different things. Fractal weapon skills are going to start dropping at level 10, Ascended Rings at level 10, Ascended Weapons at level 10, Infused Ascended Rings at level 20, and starting at the level 40, the chest will have a small chance to contain an Endless Fractal Tonic, which allows you to transform into all kinds of creatures from the different Fractals, and it's account bound, so you can actually share it with your alts, which is cool. And completing a Fractal will yield a repeatable chest that contains the following: Fractal Relics, Agony Resistance Infusions, Character Equipment, Blue Quality or higher. And above level 30, this chance will actually give you a chance to unlock a new rune or sigil. The Rune of Resistance grants toughness and a reduction to conditions, and an Aegis upon using a signet, and the Sigil of Momentum grants a stacking toughness buff every time you kill an enemy. So there's a whole bunch of different changes coming to Fractals in this patch. But last and certainly not least, the Obsidian Sanctum update is coming in this patch. So this is the Eternal Battlegrounds jumping puzzle is now having a new section that is dedicated to guild versus guild arena battles. It's not going to be exclusively guild versus guild, but there's going to be arena in there where players of different opposing worlds in world versus world can actually meet up and fight. You can queue up separately and go right to the Obsidian Sanctum after this patch goes live, and the Bloodlust buff buff is not in effect in here, so you don't have to worry about some other world being buffed, having their stats bolstered, or having a finishing move put on you actually contributing to the score. That's kind of deactivated for this update. I actually have another video on my channel. I'll put an annotation up on the screen so you can check that out. I'll give you a fly-through preview of what that arena looks like. And that's all for what's coming up in the Fractured batch. Well, that's gonna wrap up another episode of the Guild Wars 2 review preview. Please hit that like button and share it with your friends. I don't know why I'm doing this voice, but it works. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to have a fantastic day, and I'll see everybody next time. Take care.